Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fairfield County SCORE's latest live webinar series for aspiring entrepreneurs. I'm Joe McCaffrey, a business mentor here at Fairfield County SCORE, and I'll be your host. Our sponsor for today's event is Fairfield County Community Foundation. FCCF is a nonprofit organization based in Norwalk whose mission is to close the opportunity gap by eliminating disparities in income, education, employment, housing, and health. Fairfield County SCORE is proud to partner with FCCF, and we thank them for their support of this webinar series. The series was designed to support women and minority-owned small businesses. This is the first of 7 webinars being done over the next 7 Wednesdays, each starting at noon. Today's webinar is entitled, So You Want to Be an Entrepreneur, What's Next? Our speaker will be Diane Winston. More on Diane in just a moment. First, let me share some brief information with you about SCORE. SCORE is funded by a grant from the Small Business Administration, so all of our services are completely free of charge. There are about 300 SCORE offices in the US with over 10,000 volunteers. Fairfield County SCORE is one of the largest and highest rated chapters in the nation with over 100 volunteers comprising a wide range of expertise. We offer 3 value-added services to small businesses, which are all accessible from our website at fairfieldcounty.score.org. First, we provide free one-on-one counseling through face-to-face meetings, telephone calls, email, and video conferencing. Second, we produce over 100 educational workshops and webinars each year on topics of relevance and importance to small businesses. And third, we have extensive resources and tools on our website, including templates to help you build your business plan. I'm going to talk briefly about some of these tools because you'll have an opportunity to use them throughout this webinar series. This is a special webinar event because there's an opportunity for participants to earn a grant at the conclusion of the series. We'll be giving away $2,000 grants to up to 10 contestants. Judging for the grant awards will be based on a presentation of your business plan. Constructing a business plan could be a very difficult task, so we created a simple Q&A template called a business case analysis to help you figure out what to write. And that's what it looks like. It's a question and answer template. I know it's difficult just to read on the screen. Don't worry, we'll send you a copy. Writing a business plan for some people is more difficult than running a business. If you're one of those people, don't worry. I promise you'll find this process to be much easier. You'll find the entire exercise to be extremely helpful in terms of preparing to launch your new business. There's also an Excel spreadsheet for the accompanying financial projections, so you can see how much money you're hopefully going to make. Remember, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. SCORE mentors are available to help you complete these documents, and I encourage you to take advantage of the opportunity to collaborate with them. Ultimately, what the judges will be looking for is a synopsis of what I call your story. Tell us in the fewest words possible what's so great about you, your product, service, and your business. Essentially, this will be an executive summary of the business case analysis and financial projections and will serve as the basis for your presentation. You'll have a limit of 1 page to tell your story, so make it good. Think of this as being like your elevator pitch. The files for the business case and the financial projections will be emailed to you, and we'll talk more about the contest as we get closer to the end of the webinar series. So let's get started with today's event. If you have any questions during the webinar, please use the chat box located in the lower part of your screen. To respect your time, our webinar will end promptly at 1 p.m. The session is being recorded, and the link to the recording will be available at fairfieldcounty.score.org within the next couple of days. So now to our speaker. Diane Winston is a change management and communication strategist with 30+ years of corporate and consulting experience. After a career as an executive with Citibank and AXA Equitable, Diane started her own consulting firm in 2005 called Winston Strategic Partners to support change initiatives impacting organizations, people, and cultures. Diane is a member of the US and New York Women's Chamber of Commerce, Women in Public Policy, the collaboration of professional women of color, and Black Business Alliance. She has a BA from NYU and an MBA from the University of Chicago. I'll now turn it over to Diane. Diane, it's all yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure to be here with you this afternoon. And thank you for that introduction, Joe. I want to start the presentation. So you know who I am, you know who we are. And the reason that I take a great honor in being able to present to you today is because I too am an entrepreneur, but I wasn't always an entrepreneur. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to share with you, and I'll interchange my knowledge from experience, but also as a SCORE mentor, some of the things that you might want to think about if you're considering or if you are beginning as an entrepreneur. So let's talk about what's next. Well, you already know about my company, so we'll skip this. Thank you, Joe. So you want to be an entrepreneur. Do you know why you want to be an entrepreneur? I became an entrepreneur because I lost my job. 9/11 happened and I was out of work, but I had skills. So yours might be for reasons like that, or it might just simply be to follow your dreams. And if it's to follow your dreams, we're here to support you. This is the plan for today. In the few moments that we have together, we're going to discuss what the fundamentals are for becoming an entrepreneur and being successful in your own business. How being on your own is different. We want to look at both the pluses and the minuses of being in your own business, because sometimes we think that it's going to be just hunky-dory wonderful because I'm my own boss. I'll get up when I want. I'll go to bed when I want. I'll work when I want. And I want to take a look at some of that. And then we're going to talk about the kind of guidance that you should be looking for. So fundamentals of an entrepreneur. First, understand, unlike anything else that you've done, this is your vision. You have to have a vision for what you want your business to look like, what you want people and clients to expect of your firm. But you can't have just a vision without a strategy. And a strategy means having a business plan. Strategy means knowing exactly the road that you want to travel on, and then having a plan B if something happens along the way. But it's not enough to have a strategy without having an action plan. And an action plan is really, how are you going to get it done? So I had a vision. I wanted to be communication strategist per se. But as I went along, it wasn't enough. And I found that my clients had an interest in something I had experience in, which is helping move the dime from A to Z, change management, helping organizations through communications targeted at their employees to help move them to the future state. So my strategy changed from just being a communication strategist to being a change management strategist. And that includes change management, communications, leadership development, DEI, program support. That's the strategy. But how I do that is my business development. Business development doesn't mean just sales. It also means processes. It means follow through. It means target customers, understanding my competitors. So let's look at some of the fundamentals. So if you know, and I'm going to assume you have some idea because you're on this webinar, which congratulations, you're on this webinar. What is the product or service you're selling? Some of us are selling commodities. Some of us are selling tangibles. Some of us will have a brick and mortar store. Some of us will sell our service or our commodity online. I am in a service business. My business it's my expertise, and I bring folks along with me who have similar expertise or who can complement that which I don't have. But I know what I'm selling, but I didn't necessarily know I would be selling this 17 years later. It all was organic response from my clients, what I was doing really, really well, what someone was willing to pay for. So do you know what your product or your service, what will you be selling? Now, who are you going to sell it to? When I started out, I said individuals, nonprofits, small businesses, large businesses, government, and it was anything you wanted, I could do. I'll do anything you want. And that was not focused, but it was hungry. And yes, when we start our business, we actually, as entrepreneurs, we want to make that first dollar. And we are there to please folks. And that's not bad or wrong. But at some point, you have to pull back from that and really get more focused and intentional about that, who you're going to sell to and what you're going to be selling to them. How do you know it has value? And this is something that I have counseled my clients, in my SCORE clients, as well as colleagues who are starting off. How do you know it has value? Do you test the market, or have you seen someone ask for it? They ask others and nobody had it, or you've done it, you've been doing it, but you've been doing it for free. Well, then it has value, but how much value? And that's part of the work that you'll have to determine. But knowing, one, what your product or service is, knowing who you're going to sell to, and then knowing, being certain that what you offer brings value, that's a fundamental of being an entrepreneur. Okay. I tell this as an example. You should really have experience or some training in the thing that you want to make money off of. An example, if I wanted to open up an auto repair shop, I don't even know how to change a tire. I struggle to get the hood of my car up once I pull that latch, which I have a difficult time finding in my car. But once I get the hood up, then it's about, okay, where do I put the windshield wiper fluid? And don't even think about changing oil, okay? I know I cannot successfully open an auto repair shop. Yeah, I could hire people who've got the credentials and certifications to repair cars, but how do I know they're doing a good job? And if my name is going to be attached to this as the owner, the founder, the CEO, well, I should have some experience in it, and so should you. So for me, what I've done is I've taken the 20-odd years of experience in corporate America and I applied it to my business. And I've been able to finesse it over the years, because working for someone else and working for yourself, or being a business owner with people who are reporting up to you, whose checks have your company name on it, is a very different ball game than working in corporate. So I really strongly urge, if you're going to go out on your own, if you're going to become an entrepreneur, know what it is that you're offering, have experience in it or some sort of training. Okay, this is a big one. Depending on what it is that you plan to do you have the capital that you're going to need to launch your business? Now, because mine was service, because I didn't plan it, I had a home office, I had a laptop, I had internet service, and I had lots of contacts. So for me, it was relatively easy to say, I'm going to start my business. Getting my LLC did not cost anything, because I go right to the Secretary of State, as you can, and you can do it online now. Getting my employer identification number, my federal employer identification number, that's also free, and you can get that online. But I didn't need capital to start. I had a home office. I was in the bedroom. I had a printer and I had a laptop. I had a telephone. I was ready. But let's say it's going to be something else. Let's say you are going to be a carpenter, an electrician, or you are going to have a food truck, or you want a brick and mortar because you're selling merchandise, you're in retail. You're going to need capital for that. Have you identified how much capital you're going to need? And this is important. These are the fundamental things that you want to begin to think about. And oh, by the way, a SCORE mentor can help you. But these are the fundamental things that you want to think about and have pretty much a grasp of how you're going to do it. Whether or not it's all in place and ready to roll, but how you're going to do it. If you thought about these things, these are the fundamental steps of being a successful entrepreneur. Now, your well thought out plan, what is that? It's called your business plan. And it took me, I didn't discover SCORE. I'm a SCORE client still, and I'm a mentor. But I didn't discover SCORE until I'd been in business a year and a half, 2 years. Business plan, I never had to do a business plan before. The good news is that SCORE makes templates for business plan for different types of businesses available for free online. I didn't know that. So when I went to SCORE and I got my first mentor, I was tasked with doing a business plan, and I ran from it and I ran from it, but don't waste the time running from it like I did, because when I finally sat down and I finally did my business plan, and yes, there were holes in it because I didn't know everything. I didn't know who my competition was. Remember, I didn't do this with foresight. It was a function of survival. So there were holes in my business plan, but at least I knew what I didn't know now because it was on paper. And then there's something else I want to stress. Your business plan is not static. It changes as you have more experience. It is a roadmap. So you have to have a business plan. You really, 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 really should. I probably would have spent less time making foolish errors had I had a vision that and strategy and plan documented, so I could check myself, check in with my mentor, check in with my colleagues, and narrow down my focus. So having a well thought out business plan is another fundamental of being a successful entrepreneur. What resources do you need? If you're going to have, let's say, a laundromat or a convenience store or an electrical company, you're going to have an electrical firm where you're going to have jobs, or carpentry, or even a tech firm, you can't be in all places. And I promise, if you do all these things, the first 6 things, then you will be in demand. You will have clients calling you. So can you anticipate the type of resources that you're going to need and to support your business, but also have you identified those resources, whether it's people, whether it is finances, whether it is office space, whether it is a food truck? Have you identified those resources that you're going to need? This is very, very important. Being an entrepreneur is about dreaming big, having a vision, and thinking about all the possibilities that you can go. That's important. But when you're thinking about those things, you have to also think about, well, what if that doesn't work? What can I do? Staying focused to what my vision is, but do I have a plan B? Do I have resources? And let me give you an example. In the work that I do, my clients asked if we could do executive coaching, not just leadership development training seminars. And I said yes, just because I'm an entrepreneur. But I also said yes because I had relationships, and I have relationships with individuals who are certified executive coaches. And so I subcontract. They become my contractors. I pay them, but they come in as Winston Strategic Partners executive coaches. And there's nothing wrong with that. I want you to consider that for your own business, particularly as you start out. It's important that you understand which resources you may need to grow your business, even if it means you becoming a subcontractor to grow your business, because after all, green is green, right? Okay, let's move on. There are some things about being on your own that are just fantastic. And yeah, it's your vision and it's your strategy, and it's up to you to define and develop how you're going to grow your business and who your clients are going to be. You get to pick your logo, you get to pick your tagline, you get to do a website, you get to do marketing material, which at this point is not so much much more than a business card because everything is done electronically. But if you were going to do a brochure, you can do a brochure. This is the fun thing about having your own business. Oh, and one thing, let me just say, if you're going to become a bona fide business entity, spend the money and get a domain name. Don't use Hotmail, don't use optimum.net, don't use Gmail as your email. People will not take you seriously, okay? It's a small investment. Mine is with GoDaddy. Winston Strategic Partners is my domain name. I did not have a website right off. I did a landing page, which was just my logo, and it said what we did, more to come. And it took me a few years before I got my very first website. And now every several years I update it. But please, 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 if you're going to start this, be committed to it. When you give someone your business card, which you should have, your email should have your company's domain name. And that's all I'll say on that. Being on your own also means that you're everything. You do sales, which I said I would never do. You do operations, you do customer service, you do your books. Unlike me, I'm so bad at it. That was the first thing I outsourced, just a bookkeeper. And then of course I had to find someone to do my taxes. But every part of your business, when you start out, is your responsibility. Yes, you can hire a virtual assistant, sure can. But the virtual assistant is not you. The buck stops with you. So you wear all hats, and as you grow, you can then hire people, bring them in as, they call it fractional. You can bring in a fractional CFO, a fractional CMO. CFO is Chief Financial Officer. CMO is Chief Marketing Officer. You can bring in a virtual assistant, a VA. You can or hire these people full time. But at the end of the day, no matter who you hire, the buck stops with you. Your clients and your employees rely on you. When you worked for someone else, and some of you may still be working for someone else, you expect to get paid on time. You expect to be paid for the work that you've done. Your managers or supervisors expect for you to deliver the work that you've been hired to do. Well, your clients expect you to deliver on time, quality work. It's no different. I remember in one session, I asked the question, how many bosses do you have as an entrepreneur? And one person said, none. Wrong. You have, every client is your boss. Every client that you have is a boss. And each client may have a different personality, but it's up to you to define the expectations for them. If you say that you will have work done, if you say that you will present a proposal, a presentation, if you say you will deliver your product or service at a certain time, do it, be there on time. Because once you have a relationship, a contract, a proposal that's been accepted with a client, then what they're saying to you is, they have every confidence that you're going to deliver what you say you can deliver. Don't over deliver, don't over promise, stay within your boundaries of capability. And if it, as in my case, they needed executive coaching, I was very clear. I don't do executive coaching. I'm not certified to do that. But I know of executive coaches that I have collaborative working relationship with. And I, with every confidence, can offer my clients today executive coaching. And I've got a number of executive coaches from different firms who bring different certifications to the table. And then there's your employees. And you see that first thing up there, your vision? One of the things that should be not just the vision for what you want your business to be, but what type of culture do you want to set? What's your corporate culture? It's important that you recognize, as the CEO of your firm, the corporate culture, you're setting that. Do your employees like coming to work? Do they feel that they're being treated as professionals, as human beings? Do you make an environment for them where everyone's voice is included? So clients are looking to you for one thing and employees are looking to you for another thing. But again, the buck stops with you. You started your firm, you're going to make a great firm, but just remember, no one else is responsible for that but you. Hiring and firing is on you. Hire slow, fire fast, because if you bring the wrong people into your company, people who do not meet deadlines, who make your company look bad because you're not honoring the commitments that you made to your clients, then they've got to go. Either they need training or you need to reassess the value of that person on your team, because the buck stops with you. Every decision that you make impacts your bottom line. Some people can have, and I know one firm, which is multi-million-dollar firm. It was started by the parents. The son took over. His wife works in the business. Now his sister is in the business, but they have maybe 20 different employees delivering the service. In that case, that family unit is committed. That legacy business, it continues. It's a multi-million-dollar business. But depending on your family dynamics, is that good for you to bring your family into your business? You got to know that up front. You can't do it because they're a relative. Because why? The buck stops with you. All right. So every decision that you make truly, truly, truly impacts your bottom line. What meetings you're going to, what networking sessions you attend, if you go to conferences, how you position your target market, everything, it's about your bottom line. And your bottom line is about your life, your lifestyle, because your vision is for the business, but what's the vision that you have for your life? And your business should be the financing of your lifestyle, okay? The other thing about owning your own business is that you have flexibility. Remember, I started off saying how when I started off, I did individuals, nonprofits, small, medium, large, anybody. I do anything for you. I'll do a press release. I'll do a resume, because I was hungry to make that first dollar. I had put a stake in the ground and said I was going to launch my business. But as time moved on, I said, no, I'm not going to do this segment. I'm not going to do this segment. I'm going to focus on this, to the point where I was able to say to my client, yes, we can do executive coaching. But what that also did, it informed my goal for making revenue, generating revenue. So when I started meeting folks at conferences and different organizations, and I found that they were executive coaches, I immediately said, let's talk. And I would set up subsequent meetings, and we would meet, and I get a good feel and they get a good feel. And so we sign agreement to work together in the future, so that if I get a request for proposal, RFP, or if I get a call from a client and they're looking for an executive coach who is energy-based in what they do, I have a number of executive coaches that do that, or who are in DISC, who can do DISC assessments. I have a number of executive coaches that I have collaborative relationships, mutual subcontracting relationships, that I can call on, bring them in under contract to Winston Strategic Partners, but then I can deliver to my clients and I'm under contract to the client. So this is important, that you recognize that it's your vision, it's your strategy, it's your how you want to build the business, your business development. You wear every hat that there is until you can finance bringing people in, either as fractional or as full-time employees. Remember that the client and the employee are looking to you to keep your word, to keep your standard of what you've set their expectations of. And with employees, you only want employees who are who fit your culture. Okay. Getting to work on time, delivering things on time, that is my biggest stickler. When I was in corporate and I was managing people, it was my biggest stickler. If I make a commitment to my manager that something's going to be done on Friday, and on Friday morning, one of my employees said, I didn't get it done, I'm not feeling it at all. It's the same thing with business. Rather than not have it done on time, I prefer to call the client with some lead time and say, I need a few more days. It's taking a little bit longer. Set and reset expectations, because the buck stops with you. And remember, you're responsible for every decision that you make, but you may not know the options available to you. And so what we're going to talk about is a little later, we're going to talk about how you can make informed decisions. But you have, as the CEO of your firm, you have the flexibility and the options to build that company in the way and the shape that you envision. It is your dream come true. Now it's time to get to work. So being on your own also has some drawbacks. I don't know if you're one of these people that needs to always be around people. I'm an entrepreneur, but I'm also an extrovert, and I love being with people. Absolutely love it. But I also have always loved being with myself. And so when I was single and living alone, I enjoyed going home. I enjoyed reading a book or watching a show or just listening to music and cleaning my house. I totally enjoy both sides of that scenario. How about you? If you're just starting out and you don't need other people to deliver your work, it's you. It's a product that just you can sell it. It's being sold online, or you can go to a trade show and sell it by yourself. It can be lonely if you're not wired for that. Understand who you are, because who you are is what you're bringing and pouring into the business. Okay. Being on your own requires discipline. It is not about sleeping late. My alarm goes off at 6:30. I wake up before 6:30. Don't always get up before 6:30, but my alarm is going off regardless of what meetings I have. I know what time I want to be at this desk. Sometimes it's 8 o'clock. Sometimes it's much earlier because I have an 8 o'clock meeting. So I got to tell you, discipline is going to be a key to your success. Discipline, not just in getting up and getting dressed for your business day, but your follow through. You're making a calendar of what you want to accomplish every day. Because if you have a vision and you have a strategy and a business plan, it's not going to happen unless you do something. And so it's like eating an elephant, bite by bite. So if you want to make $50,000 this year, or 100,000, or 200,000, or 500,000, or $1 million eventually, how are you going to get there? Your business plan will give you the roadmap. But within that business plan, and you can do a year business plan, you can do I'm reading a book right now, the 12-week year. But you can do a business plan, and it simply is that you're saying, and within this discrete amount of time, I want to accomplish the following things. So being able to accomplish those things requires discipline. If you want to write a book, you have to start on page 1 and develop the chapters, and then you finally figure out the conclusion, and then you're going to edit it. But if you want to get it out within 3 months, all of that's got to be done in a very contracted amount of time. You may not get a lot of sleep, but you'll get that book out on time. And then I want to encourage you to have tenacity. Tenacity means staying focused. Don't easily get discouraged, and it can be discouraging from time to time. But remember why you're while you're doing it. Remember why you're doing it, and remember the joy that comes from owning your own business. Remember how your clients are so satisfied. Remember that your employees get up every day and depend on you to help them to make a living. Remember, no matter what happens, course correcting is fine. Have tenacity. I remember someone saying to me when I was at Citibank, he really didn't want to make time for me. He was busy. He's so busy, so busy. And I said, can we set up a meeting? He said, I'll tell you what, you go and you find out this, and this, and then come back to me and we'll set up a meeting. And I guess he thought I was going to be discouraged or overwhelmed by it. But I was back in 2 days. I took care of this, and this. I had the details that he thought I needed in order to chat with him. And he looked up at me and he said, you're really tenacious. And I had to go look up the word because he made it sound like it was bad. Tenacity is not bad, folks. Having tenacity as an entrepreneur is good. It means that when someone tells you no, it may mean not today, but you keep that relationship. You continue to go forward, and at some point, because you've built that relationship, they may come back to you and say, and I've had that happen. Winston Strategic Partners. I know someone that can do it. I know a firm that can do it. I have tenacity. I stay in touch with people. I have long lists after 17 years of people that I've met, both colleagues and potential clients. Some potentials have become clients. And once we're finished in that working relationship, I continue to stay in touch with them. I don't bug anybody. I see them at conferences. I get online and I see them even in the virtual meetings, and I'll put in the chat, how are you? I have tenacity. I'm proud of that because it has fueled me to stay in business for as long as I have. It's important that you know when and be comfortable with course correcting. I had to do it. The best laid plans, you've heard that before. I had to course correct because the amount of time that I was spending doing a resume was 10 hours or more, just interviewing the individual. And the folks that needed the resume couldn't pay me for my time, not what it was worth. And so I had to look at that and consider the fact that I either was going to focus on individuals and I wasn't going to make the revenue that I had projected, or I was going to not make that my target market, but to go to clients that needed, wanted, and valued the services that I wanted to be in business to do. And this took me some time, but I course corrected. And then it's important that as you develop your business, and I'm going to recommend a book to you. The book is The E Myth Revisited. Little E Myth Revisited. This book is wonderful, and it's a small book, but it's great in that it helps you understand that it's one thing for you to be in business by yourself, but as you grow, as you hire people, you want to make sure that the work that they're doing is the way that you want it done. So you want structured systems. That's what that means. If I'm going to call on a client, there's certain things that I'm going to be doing in that call. One, I have a list of questions that I'm going to be asking. Two, I'm going to follow up with a note and an attachment of our capability statement. I may be asking for a follow-up meeting. I may be reviewing what we talked about, or I may be submitting a proposal right there. There are certain things that have to happen based on that initial meeting or secondary meeting with that client. That needs to be documented so that if I hire someone to start doing account management for me or business development, they know how I want to get it done. And now I want you to think about Hamburger University. You can go to McDonald's anywhere in this nation. Every employee has to go to Hamburger University. It's on video, but they learn what the standards are. They learn what the standards are for working at McDonald's. Think of your company as McDonald's. The way you come in to do a sale, or way you deliver the business that you are doing, or the way that you do the sandwiches that you do. Look at Subway, look at Jersey Mike's. There's a process that's in place. People are trained. Same thing for you. And then finally, being on your own. It can be lonely, but you needn't go it alone. You're the boss. Yep, without question. You're the CEO and you're the boss, but you needn't go it alone. So I'd like to encourage you to think about joining trade organizations or functional organizations. For communications, I am in the International Association of Business Communicators, IABC. For change management, I'm a member of the Association of Change Management Professionals, ACMP. There are trade organizations or functional organizations. If you're in an HR, SHRM, the Society of HR Managers, I think it is SHRM. You should definitely attend those meetings. You should definitely consider joining those meetings for a number of reasons. One, or those organizations. One, to stay up on trends. Two, to meet colleagues in the same field as you. Three, to build networking relationships, because not only will your colleagues be at meetings and conferences, so will your target client. Okay, so it's important that you consider, find out, Google it, whatever your trade is, I promise there's an organization for which you can become a member. And then depending on what it is that you offer and who you offer, our local Chamber of Commerce, that's a great place to get known and to know people within your local community. And then another way for you to gain success, get certified. As a minority or as a woman, there are organizations that certify us. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about them and some other organizations. But for certifications as an MBE, there's the National Minority Supplier Development Council. Please just take notes. This video will also be made available later. But go to nmsdc.org, find out about the organization. Certification does come with a fee. Recertification is a little less, but what it gives you access to are corporations that are looking for ethnic minority suppliers. So the list of ethnic minorities is on the NMSDC website, but it is all the minorities that are recognized as so by the federal government. All right. And then as a woman-owned business or a woman business enterprise, WBE, certification from WBEC, the Women's Business Educational National Council. WBEC is another fantastic organization. I am certified by both for obvious reasons. But both organizations, both certifications are what corporations look for. Corporations, if they ask you, are you an MBE? Are you MBE certified? They're not asking you if you're certified by the state of Connecticut Department of Administrative Services. They're asking you if you're certified by the NMSDC. If they ask you if you're a woman-owned certified business, for corporations, they're asking again if you're WBEC certified. These two third-party agencies are the only two that corporations require. And the reason for that is because they screen very thoroughly to make sure that if you say you're a woman-owned business, and that's 50% owned by a woman, 51% owned and operated by a woman, not a man, front with a woman in the front, or a non-minority who actually owns and runs the company saying, because they've got someone that is of minority origin in the front of the house, the NMSDC and WEBEC are very, very, very thorough in making sure they screen and validate that you're exactly what you say you are. And that's why corporations, they don't have to go through that. If you're certified by either of those two organizations, that's going to be a plus for you. Doesn't guarantee you work, but what it does, it puts you in a pool for consideration. It also gives you access to corporate clients that are looking for diverse suppliers. On the government, you can have local and state certifications that are as a MWBE. On the federal, you can also get certified as an MWBE, or a woman-owned small business, or an economically economically disadvantaged woman-owned small business, or hub zone, which is your office is in a town or a city that the government considers a hub zone. And you'll learn more about that if you take subsequent training with us. Understand your business landscape. A lot of this is going to come out of your business plan. Who are your competitors? What makes your offering different and more valuable? Do a SWOT analysis. What's a SWOT analysis, Diane? A SWOT analysis is where you're going to do like a grid, and you're going to say, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, these are my opportunities, these are my threats. And if you do that and you continue to review that, you're going to be able to move strategically into your future. I mentioned the organizations are ready to stay abreast of trends. And I'd like to also encourage you to join a mastermind group. Now, this doesn't have to be formal. I started out with 3 or 4 other women, 2 who had already been entrepreneurs, and 1 who had been in corporate who became an entrepreneur, and then 1 who worked in corporate. And these women, we were in a business organization, Women in Management, a business organization. They were seasoned. We would go to dinner. And when I started thinking about what I wanted to do, they poured their wisdom into me. They helped me to decide, to make the plunge, but they also became my accountability partners. So that is what a mastermind group is. You can join one formally, or you can just bring together people who, they're not going to judge you, but they're going to encourage you. And likewise, you encourage them. I'm in a mastermind group now with 2 other women, and then another group of 30 women. And we break off into 5 each for each mastermind on every other week. But there's an accountability factor that you will need, particularly starting off as an entrepreneur. And I cannot stress enough, find right guidance. Industry organizations not only tell you about trends, but where there may be some changes in laws that will affect you, it's important that you know that. Take business development and management training seminars. There's so many. SCORE alone offers so many different trainings that are free. Take advantage of them, particularly because most of them are offered virtually and you don't have to leave home. It may be an hour, just like today. It's 1 crisp hour. You're here, congratulations. Take advantage of everything that you can. But also in finding the right guidance, get yourself a lawyer, a banker. You have to have an account that's for your business and different from personal. Have a CPA to do your taxes, a bookkeeper to watch your finances, and definitely have a SCORE mentor. The final point that I want to make, you got to have patience. I know we want to make $1 million. It's already May 11, and we're just launching, and we want to make $1 million this year. But we got to have patience. Rome wasn't built in a year. So remember, you're starting out and this is new, it's a new experience. Get yourself all of the support that you need. Start with a SCORE mentor, get a lawyer, make sure your banker knows who you are and can help you in terms of setting up the right accounts for yourself. Get a bookkeeper, get QuickBooks. It's new, but set up the infrastructure for your business. And then take the time to get it right. You can't do it all in one day. You can't get it all done in a week, but you do want to have deadlines by which you want to push yourself to get things done, okay? You want to do it right the first time. DERFT, do it right the first time. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. We're human. It's going to happen. Take ownership, apologize to yourself that you didn't think it through, apologize to your employees, apologize to your clients, and then move on. Don't make that same mistake again. Try not to. Know when to ask for help. I've got a project that I'm ready to launch. It's online, and I'm petrified of doing it wrong. And I reached out to a couple of people that are in my mastermind group, and I said, look, I need help. Before I make this public, I need you to look at it for me and give me your feedback. Ask for help. Strive for excellence. As a minority, as a woman, we're always second guess that we're bringing not the best, or what we're bringing isn't this, isn't that. There's nothing we can do about how people may perceive us before they experience us. So my suggestion, bring excellence whatever you do. And then finally, when you make your million or your $500,000 or $250,000 or $50,000 a year, when you have reached the point where you've got rhythm, don't just keep going forward on your own. Don't just take advantage of others, the goodness of others. Don't just make it about you. Our community needs us. So reach back, bring someone with you, take a moment, give someone a little bit of information about what you know so that they can grow and they can come up. And with that, I want to say thank you. And Joe, I don't know what time it is. I don't know if you've got time for questions, but I'm done.
You did great. Thanks, Diane. Yes, we do have time for questions. And let's see this. I'm going to stop your share. I'm going to bring my screen back up here. So yes, if anyone has questions, we have a couple of questions that are already loaded up. We'll get to those. But any other questions that anyone has, please put them in. Actually, we've been using the Q&A box. There's a separate Q&A
box. Versus, you want me to look at them, or you gonna? I'll look at them.
If you want to take it, yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I got it. Okay, so Wankabi. Hi, Madam Winston. I've tried starting up a new business here in Uganda, but always have challenges with documentation, spending culture. I wish I knew the answer in Uganda. But is there a local government or that business entity similar to our Small Business Administration that you can go to? I hope so. I would suggest that you do that. Try going to, or maybe a lawyer, because you say you have challenges with documentation. I don't know what else to tell you, but get someone that knows, maybe another small business owner there who will take you under their wing, okay? Michelle Wheeler says, how to go out getting a mentor in the food service industry. Well, one is getting a mentor with SCORE, Michelle. The other is look for industries related to the food industry. Look for organizations related to the food industry, and start going, join those meetings. And I promise you, someone will take you under their arm. And then an anonymous, I have a problem with records. I started a new business, things I've been challenged on how. Okay, items to spend on. Okay, so this one is keeping records. You gotta keep records. You gotta keep receipts. You have to keep your emails, and I just get manila folders. And what I do is I have a receipt manila folder, and every month during the month, anything that's related to the business, whether it's meetings, whether it is supplies, whatever it is, I put that receipt in the receipt folder, and then I ship it off to my accountant, my bookkeeper. And that's how I keep me honest. So I only see 3 in the Q&A.
Yeah,
Right?
there's 3. I have a couple of questions though, Diane. So
Sure.
here's one question. If you could go back in time and do it all over again, what, if anything, would you do differently?
I would have a business plan. I would have a SCORE mentor and a business plan, honestly.
Sooner in the process.
Yeah, because remember, unlike a lot of my colleagues on this call, I didn't plan to do it.
Yeah.
And so because I didn't plan to do it, but if I had knowledge of SCORE when I decided I was going to do it, I was, started consulting firm, I probably would have started with a SCORE mentor to just say, okay, this is what I want to do. Help me.
And even though you were kind of forced into entrepreneurism because you said you had experienced a disruptive job loss during 9/11, looking back on it now, would you have gone into business for yourself sooner? Or like you had a great corporate experience that seemed like it was developing and is what contributed to the success that you're realizing now, but would you have done it sooner, or was the timing right for you, would you say?
The timing was right. I had always said that I would eventually go into my own business. But it turns out I was a single mom when I started. And when I left Citibank in 2020, my son was now 21 in college, and my whole life had changed. I had remarried. But when I started at AXA Equitable, that was a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. It was a new company, new experience. I was able to leverage everything and more that I'd learned at Citi. And then I lost the job after 18 months with 9/11. So there I was, but the timing was perfect because just the timing was perfect. I had everything I needed to get launched, except I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, that's great. Here's another question. I think I already know the answer to this, but I think it would be helpful for our audience to hear it firsthand from you. Do you work more or less hours as an entrepreneur than you did as a corporate employee?
More.
Much more, right?
Oh my God, that's the other myth that I work more hours. I mean, I will see the sun come up to meet a deadline. I will work all night to see a deadline.
Yeah. So what do you like most about being in business for yourself?
The diversity of clients and people. I absolutely love being able to go into, because change happens regardless of the industry. And so I love having to learn a new industry because I'm a lifelong learner, and then to solve the problems because I know I can. I just need to understand what the problem is in this particular change environment. And then I'm doing it. And I love when the clients go, oh my God, that's great. That's exactly what we need. So I love it.
Anything you dislike? Other than bookkeeping and taxes?
I hate the sales.
Sales part? Yeah. It's a necessary part, right?
Yeah. I'm not good at cold calling. I don't pick up the phone. Hi, my name is, but what I do that is a form of cold calling is go to conferences that offer matchmaking events. And that's like speed dating, except who the corporates or the clients, potential clients are, and you have an opportunity to request a meeting with them. If they say yes, then you have 15 minutes with them. It means doing a lot of research, but that's how I build relationships with those I don't know.
Yep. Terrific. Okay, we're just about out of time here. So for our next webinar in this series, we'll be talking about how to run a successful small business. Please be sure to join us next Wednesday at noon for that session. Registration information will be emailed to you. Again, SCORE offers free individual mentoring, so please use the link on the screen here or visit our website and click on Request a Mentor. For information about other SCORE webinars and workshops, we have a lot of them. Please visit the calendar on our website at fairfieldcounty.score.org. You'll receive an evaluation via email of today's webinar. We'd appreciate it if you'd fill that out for us. Tell us what you liked or anything that you didn't like so we can improve our program in the future. On behalf of SCORE, I'd like to say thank you all for attending today's live webinar. In closing, a big thank you to Diane Winston for presenting today. Did a great job, Diane.
Thank you.
And to our sponsor, Fairfield County Community Foundation. Have a great rest of the day, everyone.
Do well. Go shoot for the stars, you guys.